For the past 6 months, I've been walking with an 8-kilo weighted vest nearly every single day. And now at this 6-month mark, I'm kind of ready to share with you how the experience has gone, what has worked, what hasn't worked, and just all around, does the weighted vest, especially for a woman over 50, how effective is it? About 6 months ago, I was well into my walking practice. I always walk every single day for, I try to do the 10,000 steps, but I at least do a half hour of walking every single day. And somehow the algorithm kind of sensed that I needed to ramp things up a bit. And all of a sudden, the concept of weighted vests came into my consciousness. And I started to get obsessed. Wow, that's such a cool idea. Like, what if you could wear some extra weight and it would they would say it would torch fat and you get really fit and really strong just doing something that I'm doing anyway. So I was hooked. And I thought, before I go and buy a weighted vest, let's get an idea of how much weight I can carry so I would know what to order. So I decided to just trial. You can really make your own weighted vest. So for that, all you need is a backpack. I just happen to have this army backpack, and rucking, the idea of carrying weight on the back, is actually a military thing. So you don't have to have this kind. You can just borrow your kid's backpack or whatever. Don't spend any money on it. Just get whatever backpack. And then you need some type of weight that matches the type of weighted vest that you're interested in. I happen to have an 8-kilo kettlebell-ish kind of thing, but you could use rice, you could use sand, you could use books. I'm just lazy and happen to have the exact weight of what I was interested in getting. Then if you're using weights or books, to soften it up a bit, I just got an old towel and I wrap the weight in this, just a cushion, because there's so many hard edges. It's going to, I guess you could spend a lot of time and pack it with a lot of foam and things like that, but I'm kind of impatient and just wanted to, so then just tighten this sucker up. It's a little bit fiddly, this pack. And you do actually, when you're trying this, when you're trialing it with a DIY kind of weighted vest situation, and then you put that sucker on, and you try not to look like too much of a kook walking around. But this is probably less suspicious than walking around with a weighted vest. People just think you're carrying a pack. All right, I'm gonna go for a walk now. This is not comfortable. It's pulling down on my shoulders. The weight is here at the hips. I could definitely mess around and make it more comfortable, but it's not comfortable. All I'm trying to do is to just see what the weight is like for me. Can I manage carrying 8 kilos, to just get used to it? And when I started, I wasn't used to carrying 8 kilos, so it was really just feeling it out. And I will say, after a while, now I'm used to carrying 8 kilos since walking with the weighted vest for 6 months. But when I started, for the first week or two, after about 10 minutes, I'd have to adjust it and walk with it from the front because it would just be killing my back. But this is a good way to just trial, to just see even if you're even gonna keep up the practice of walking with the weighted vest, because you don't wanna buy something and then never use it. It's not good for the environment. You don't need more clutter around. When you're doing a practice, you're just trying to be minimal about things, and using what you have to start off with before you make the investment is the good thing to do. But this is very helpful before you buy the weighted vest. After a week or so of doing some test runs with my own DIY version of a weighted vest using a backpack and weights, I was ready to put my order in, and I ordered this 8-kilo vest from an Australian company called Rucksak. And when it came, the difference was amazing compared to schlepping around the DIY backpack that I made. It's surprisingly, it's like, oh my gosh, it's really heavy. But once you put it on, it's the difference, the feel of it after, especially doing the hard yards with the weight in a DIY backpack. It's feels so much better. It's just really comfortable. The weight's really distributed well on my shoulders. It did take 6 months to just kind of get used to it. Like now I feel like I could wear it all day. I still feel it, but I'm not feeling it in my shoulders. And the thing that would be really helpful is just look on the reviews. You just want to look for reviews that say that it's comfortable. And that's what I found with this particular vest, that it's just comfortable. It doesn't hurt my shoulders, just like night and day compared to that DIY thing I was doing. Very comfortable in the shoulders. The size is a small size, so it really fits well with my body. It felt freaking heavy, so I was really glad that I didn't order the 11 kilo one. And then I started walking with it every day. And what I love about it is that it just made the walk that I do anyways, just gave it a little bit more oomph. I could just feel myself breathing more, and I really just loved the feeling that I was doing something a little bit more for my body. So one of the big claims that is said about the weighted vest is that it torches fat. I wouldn't say it has done that for me. At the very least, it's really hard for me to distinguish how much impact that the weighted vest has had on my body composition. At the time, 6 months ago also, it coincided with me just all around getting in on this new fitness trend of resistance training and lifting heavy, and how important this is, especially for women over 50, for everybody. I want to be really strong for my family. I want to be as fit as possible. So I've gotten on the bandwagon of lifting these weights. It's very hard to pin any fat loss on the weighted vest. And I think that it's been helpful to kind of let that claim go for me. I think if you didn't do any exercise at all, perhaps you would notice fat loss from doing it. But as far as torching fat loss, I think unless you are walking pretty hard every single day, and this is your only source of exercise, that's the only way that you're going to know if this thing is responsible for losing that fat. Walking up the hills is for sure when you feel it. But what I've noticed after 6 months of using it is that it's much easier. The weight kind of feels like a more natural type of fit for me. I don't get as huffy puffy in it. Also at the beginning, for the first few months of it, my shoulders would feel quite sore, or I would feel it in my ankles. So it takes time for your body to adjust to this kind of load. But I recently had to hold a little baby, a friend's baby, who probably weighed about 9-10 kilos, nearly all day long. I got to pretend I was his grandma, and I got to hold him like all day long. And I felt really grateful that I've been training with this vest, because I was totally prepared. Without noticeably carrying this kind of weight all the time, I would have been wiped. I would not have been able to hold him the whole time. So it was really cool to see the evidence of learning how to carry more weight being practical in real life scenarios. I just go a half hour of walking. After that, that's kind of enough for me. I'll go do more walks without, but it's funny when you when you take it off, it's just like you take it off and you go for a walk and you just feel like you're freaking flying. It just like feels so light. It actually makes you really appreciate regular walking. You just get so used to carrying that heavy thing that when you don't have anything, it just feels amazing. One thing that I also really, really love about wearing this weighted vest and training with the weighted vest, which has been very practical, real life important to me, is that I kind of use it as my preparation for travel. I travel a lot for fun and for work, and having this weight is to me just like, so I'm totally prepared for carrying my suitcase or backpack, or when I'm doing filming with my television crew, I'm able to easily help carry their heavy gear. I'm a really helpful member of the team. So using this weight, carrying this weight, walking around with it for a good half hour every day has been awesome training to just for my body and mind to understand what it's like to carry 8 extra kilos on me. But this is the cool thing about the weighted vest. I love the idea that I'm using it almost like a vision board. One of these days, when the time is right and the planets align, I'd love to do the epic, classic walk, the 700K or so Camino de Santiago from border of France to Spain. And you can really only carry like under 12 kilos at the most. So when I'm carrying 8 kilos, I really have an understanding of what that feels like. It won't be a shock when I eventually do the hike because I'm used to walking with this extra weight. So for me, it's been valuable in that way to just know, every time I just do my walk, and I'm kind of walking for my physical health, but also for my mental health. I have kind of a third component of the practice that it's like for my metaphysical health. I'm manifesting myself walking on the Camino and knowing that I'll be able to carry my little backpack, no problem, because I've been training for it. My verdict with the weighted vest, should you get one? Well, I think if you're really committed to your health, committed to getting stronger, it's an awesome add-on. I don't think it does all the work that is often promised in advertising on its own. I think it's a beautiful component to regular walking anyways, yoga or mobility practice, a good strong resistance training. So I think it's really important for all of that. But I also love the idea that with a weighted vest, I'm really training for life. I'm training for the things that I love in life. I'm training for travel and adventure, and I'm training for work, which I love, and I'm training for possibly that one day when I'm going to go walk the Camino de Santiago. I'm already getting used to what it feels like to have a pack on my back. Weighted vest is definitely going to make you stronger, but possibly more with some mental cushioning. I just love walking so much. It's really one of my foundational practices for my mental health, for my physical health, of course, but having the weighted vest just adds a little bit more of a twist. If you're interested in this vest, I highly recommend it. I'll put a link to it in the show notes for this episode. But I would just look for something, just make sure you give it a little bit of a try with a DIY pack to see what feels good for you, something that you can manage for 20 minutes or so. So it's the fine line of not going too light, but not going too heavy either. All right, I hope that helps get you excited to put on a weighted vest and go do your walking practice.